guys, it's Ivy. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing my top 10 reads of 2019, and I do have a couple of honorable mentions that I do want to talk about because I did love these books. So I guess I'll start with my first honorable mention, which is like not on the list. Like the other two are like I have them paired with another book. You'll see, it'll make sense when I get there. My honorable mention is The Revolution of Birdie Randolph by Brandi Colbert, and this is a contemporary novel about a girl who is a teenager and she's hitting her rebellious stage, and she is dating boys and going out to parties, and her aunt moves in to their apartment with them and she starts to build a relationship with her, and a lot of family secrets unfold and a lot of interesting things happen. This book is just so beautifully done, and it is honestly something I really recommend. It was so easy to read. I read it very quickly and I just was totally blown away by the way Brandi Colbert created the story and decided to share a story like this with us, and just definitely pick this one up. My top 10 list was really hard to put in order, so just keep in mind that while I'm starting from 10 being like my least favorite of my favorites to 1 being my #1 favorite of my favorites, these are all my favorites, and it was really hard to put in order because they're just all so great and I loved reading every second of all of these books. So with that being said, number 10 is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I did read this book on audiobook, which I highly recommend. Elizabeth reads it herself. This book is about Amani, and she is a teen mother, which I find really interesting because a lot of YA books we get are girls in high school dealing with being pregnant. However, this book is about her already having her baby and what it is like raising a child as a teenager and also trying to follow her dreams. Amani is trying to be a chef, and it's her experiencing chef school and having to follow the rules, but also really wanting to show her creativity, which I completely connected with the story in the chef aspect because I cook for a living, and I really enjoyed that Elizabeth shared different recipes and techniques. This was so amazing, so beautifully done, and I really recommend you pick this one up if you have not yet. Coming in at number 9 is Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake, and I have been talking about this book a lot lately. I don't know what I can do to convince you to pick this one up if you haven't yet. Girl Made of Stars is really an important story. It will get conversations happening and conversations that need to happen, and this book is about a girl who's is a twin. Main character of this story, her name is Mara, and her twin brother's name is Owen, and Owen is dating Mara's friend Hannah, and Hannah accuses Owen of rape, and this story is all struggling from all different sides of a situation like that, and it is about Mara, who is there supporting her friend. She believes her friend. She doesn't want her friend to be bullied for being honest, and it's Owen not admitting to what happened, and it's Mara stuck in the middle of it being her brother and her friend, and there's other things that come to light in this, and it's just such a powerful story, and I really recommend this one. I can't stop talking about it. It was so beautiful. Coming in at number 8 is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh, and this is a book about a girl who moves to New Orleans, and she is getting involved. She lives in the convent. She's getting involved with this other group. Our main character's name in this book is Celine, and Celine is starting to get involved with Sebastian and his friends, and there are people being murdered, basically bitten, because there's vampire attacks happening, and oh my gosh, this book is so cool. I cannot wait to read the sequel. I really loved the New Orleans aspect and the cultural aspect. I highly enjoyed it. I felt like I was there in the French Quarter, and you can really tell how Renee did her research when writing this novel, and you can see little bits and pieces that are obviously inspired by oh, what is it called? The convent. there's a convent out there that has like a lot of legends around it, and you can tell that she pulled a lot of those legends and put them in here, which I really enjoyed. I honestly, this was such a fun read for me, and Renee Ahdieh's writing is so lyrical and beautiful, and it's just, it takes my breath away. And like I said, I cannot wait to read the sequel of this one. Coming in at number 7 is Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno, and this is a magical realism story about 2 sisters, and they live on this like kind of secluded island. Everybody knows everybody there. Every summer this group of people comes to watch this bird fly in, and this bird is like kind of like a legend of her family, and her family they're kind of witches and they have powers and stuff. I don't want to give too much away about this one because you should really just go in and enjoy it and learn everything that happens as it unveils. But just know that it is magical realism, so you're going to see some really unique things happen. So in this story, everybody is waiting for the bird to show up, and the bird doesn't show up, and it's a huge tragedy for this family and also for the people that are there to find the bird. So they start to investigate what's going on, and a lot of things get unveiled, and a lot of heartbreaking things get unveiled. Just thinking about it gives me the chills. It's so stunningly done, and if you like magical realism or witches or magic, or like, this is a perfect book for fans of the Wicked Deep, Winterwood, practical magic, the rules of magic. So if you're a fan of Alice Hoffman or Shea Ernshaw, I highly recommend this one. Do not sleep on this book. You have to pick this one up. It is so good. Coming in at number 6 is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and this book was so cool to me. Ninth House is about a girl named Alex Stern, and she can see ghosts, and she is at Yale investigating the secret societies of Yale because there has been a murder that has happened. And this book is full of magic and mayhem, and it's super dark. Like, this is very in the realm of something that Stephen King would write, and if you're a Stephen King fan, I would recommend this book to you. I know it was a lot of people's one of their disappointing reads of this year, which I can't understand. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinions. I value everybody's opinions, but I can't grasp why people didn't enjoy this book so much, because to me it was so fantastic. Like, I finished it in like 3 days, and it's kind of a big book. And if you have read anything by Leigh Bardugo, you know that her writing is very detailed, and her books can take a long time to get through. And this one, just honestly, it's like, one of my favorite movies is The Sixth Sense, and so this made me think of that movie, and I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed my time in this book. I loved how dark it was and how bad things did happen, but it shows you that you can move past them, and that bad things that happen to you put you on a path in life. And it's so unfortunate that those things happen, but it's also something that we need to learn and grow from. And I really enjoyed that Leigh shined light on something that could be so negative, but it shows you how it gets you on your journey. So yes, definitely love this one. Okay, coming in at number 5, I have 2 books to talk about, because I wanted to do this with picking only one book from one author. Like, so if I read more than one book from an author, I didn't want to have that author's book take up 2 spots on this list. So that's why I'm like doing an honorable mention and talking about these 2 books at the same time. So with that being said, the 2 books that I'm talking about for spot number 5 are Daisy Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I enjoyed my time highly in both of these stories. They're both kind of like pop culture stories, I guess you would say. They're about Hollywood stars. Evelyn Hugo's story is about her life from her being a child and her meeting all 7 of her husbands, and who her true love was, and why she married all these men. And she's being interviewed at an older age, and she picked this interviewer specifically. Her name is Monique. She picked her specifically for a reason, which is part of the mystery of this story, is we want to know why Evelyn picked Monique. And this just really resonated with me. Every time I read something by Taylor, I learn something new about myself, which is an amazing thing to say about an author and about their books and their work. So definitely check this one out. Daisy Jones in the Six is about a girl named Daisy and her joining the band The Six and their rise to fame and why they fell apart. And this is told in like an interview format, which is really interesting way to read a book. The first time I read this, I read it twice this year. I read it physically, and then the second time I listened to the audiobook because it's full cast narration, and it's so good. It's so good. Both of these books are amazing, and I just highly recommend anything by Taylor Jenkins Reid. There's a few books of hers I haven't read yet. I definitely encourage you to pick these two books up because you will not be disappointed, and just good stories. They're amazing, great stories. Coming in at number 4 is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is a horror novel. It's body horror. These girls are on this island and they are contaminated with a tox, and they're quarantined to the school they're at, and the tox basically causes one of the girls to grow an extra spine, another girl to grow like a third eyelid, and it body morphs them, and it's honestly, it's so disturbing, but it's so good. Like, I devoured this book when I was reading it. I loved it. It's told in different point of views from different girls, and there's a mystery aspect where one of the girls is missing and the girl's trying to find her friend. In this book, the girls are quarantined, like I said, though the military is sending them their supplies. While Ahdieh goes to gather supplies, she learns some information that is making her realize that there's more going on with the tox than she's being let on to know, and all the other girls are being let on to know. And a lot of the girls in this story, some of them don't survive the tox, some of them die, some of them can survive it but are just, like I said, they have like the second spine or the extra eyelid or whatever the disease ends up giving them. It's just so hauntingly beautiful and dark, and I cannot wait to read more from Rory Power because I think she's an excellent author. I think her storytelling is extraordinary, and she knows how to keep you invested but creeped out, and just I feel like she hits all angles of what a good story should be, and for that I cannot wait to read anything else that she writes, and this was just such a fantastic book. Coming in at number 3 is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin, and this book is about a girl named Lou, and she is a witch, and she is mischievous and rebellious, and she's a lot like Selena, so if you're a Throne of Glass fan, I highly recommend this book for you. You will not be disappointed. She gets caught doing something and she twists it around, and she ends up having to marry a witch hunter, and he doesn't know that she's a witch, and it's just so much fun. It's steamy, it's romantic, it's a fast-paced plot, and you will be heavily invested in their romance, and it's just such a good book. And there's a lot of things happening. Witches are being burnt at the stake. Like I said, there's witch hunters, so you see all different points of the story. There's magic, there's murder, there's romance, like I said, which is my favorite part of this book. It's so fantastically done, and I cannot wait for the sequel. Coming in at number 2 is 2 books because these go hand in hand, and it is The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing, and these are by Holly Black. These are the second book and the third book, the final conclusion in the Folk of the Air series. These books are about Jude and Carden. Jude is a human girl who is in the realm of fairy, and Carden is the prince. And if you don't know what these books are about, I'm shocked. If you haven't read them, I'm shocked, because these are so much fun. Like, there's some books that you like read and you're like, these were great, I had a good time, but then there's those books that are just like, these are so much fun. Like, I had a blast reading these. I was thinking about them nonstop when I wasn't reading them. I couldn't wait to pick them back up. Like, I read Queen of Nothing in like 2 days, and I think I could say the same for The Wicked King. I read them both probably like 2 or 3 days. They're so fantastic, and Holly's writing is just a great time. The conclusion wrapped everything up so nicely, and I just like that haters to lovers trope, and I just love dark things, and these books they're dark but they're fun. So definitely read these if you haven't yet, because Holly will just blow you away. Coming in at my #1 spot is Winterwood by Shea Ernshaw. This book is about Nora. Nora Walker is a witch, and she lives outside of the wood in her grandmother's old cabin, and she is a protector of the wood, and she goes in there, and you can only enter during certain phases of the moon. She goes in there and she finds lost things. On one of her trips into the Winterwood, she ends up finding a boy, and the story just unfolds from there. It's so dark and haunting and gorgeous, and it is one of those stories that I can reread every single year for probably the rest of my life because it is so good. Definitely, if you're a fan of practical magic and the rules of magic, this is right up your alley. Shea has a way of writing witches and romance and heartbreak and dark things just in a way that's just so, I honestly, it makes me speechless, because she just does her writing in such a way that's just so shocking. Like, her plot twists are just shocking. Like, you will not see these things coming, and the same could be said for The Wicked Deep. That's why I'm saying her writing for her plot twist is just, it's extraordinary. She is an extraordinary author. I really love Shea's works, and The Winterwood will not disappoint you. I will be shocked if it disappoints you, because it's just one of those tales that needed to be told and read, and it will honestly blow you away. This book is full of deadly secrets, and it will spellbind you from the very second that you open it. I read most of this on my flight back from New York City, and I like wanted to finish it so bad right away, and it's just, I could not put this book down. If you're looking for a book that you don't want to put down, this is the book for you. It's just it's gonna take your soul, but you're gonna be like happy about it. Like, trust me, you need to pick this one up. So good. So just, it's obviously, it made my #1 spot of the year. Like, this beat out Leigh Bardugo, this beat out Daisy Jones and the Six, which is #1 on a lot of people's lists, but this for me was just that it book of the year. Like, it just was. So I really hope you pick it up if you haven't yet, and if you have, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Okay, you guys, that is it for my top books of 2019. Please let me know in the comments down below some of your top books of 2019, as I would love to hear about them. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Bye!